Okay, so it's been a while since I've actually done a video like this, basically a weapons guide for 2020 up until this point, and a couple of things that I should mention, and this is so important. Any kind of rebalancing that happens, after the video is released, could impact, the list of items or weapons that I'm about to show you today. And the other thing too is I will be giving you my input as to whether I would upgrade it. Again, this is kind of like a personal opinion. I do play in high-level champion league, so I do see, what the top players are running, and whether I would actually upgrade it to the point where it's maxed out to compete against them. A lot of what I'm going to tell you is going to be based on that. And yep, so we're going to keep things into, I guess, 3 categories. It's not going to be ranked in any order or anything like that, but it's going to be the silver weapons, the gold weapons, and then components. Okay, so let's get started with the light weapons. So as far as light weapons, the only weapon I would upgrade is actually the Punisher. And just to elaborate on that, for those of you that have been following my baby account videos, you would recall I was running the Natasha with Thunder and Punishers. Now, I think it actually works really well when you're starting your account. If your bots are level 6 and your weapons, or at least in this case, if I did have a Punisher, the most I would level it up to is level 9. And then from that point, I think I would just stop everything, because at that point, you probably want to kind of transition into a component weapon like a Rhyme or something. But yeah, I think out of the silver weapons, the Punisher or single Punisher is the only one that I would personally upgrade. And the most I would take it to in terms of level is level 9. And then after that, I would just stop. And in terms of, let's see, we have mediums next. So in terms of mediums, pretty much the same thing, the Punisher T. But this one is kind of interesting because I've actually seen this sort of work, at max MK2 on a leech. Okay, so it could potentially work. Not a weapon that I would personally level up. So if you're talking about like high level play against the top players, I don't think I would level this up. I think the most in terms of levels that I would take this to is maybe MK1 level 12, possibly MK2 level 1, but then usually when you take something to MK2, you assume that you're going to probably max it out. And that's definitely not one that I would do here. In terms of the Molot, if I had a choice between these two, I would always go Punisher, because Punisher is kind of a good balance between close range and medium range. And, that's just my opinion on that. Molots have the range, but at close range, they're just terrible compared to Punishers. I know you guys are going to be asking about the Tulumbus. So the reason why I'm not saying Tulumbus is because in the current environment, in terms of the battlefield, you're seeing a lot of bots with resistance. Okay, you're seeing like Falcons, you're seeing Fenriers, Leeches, Phantoms, and then you have the Ravana, which basically has phase shift or transcendence. This weapon is not really that effective, so I think I would stay away from this and kind of just focus on the Punisher. Again, the most I would take that is probably MK1 level 12. If you do plan on running it like on a leech or something, then possibly maxing it out to MK2 level 12. But there are other options that I think I would personally go for. It's not exactly at the top of my list, but I wanted to show you guys anyways, or at least mention it, being that it is a silver weapon. Okay, and let's see, heavies. So I recently did a live stream where I ran the Falcon with Thunder, and to be honest, it's actually not that bad. Now, if I was to play against, like, obviously the top players in the game, I don't think I would max this out, MK2 max. However, if you do have one that is like MK1 level 12 and you don't really have that many weapons available, this could be an option. You could get it to max MK2 level 12 if you are kind of strapped for weapons and you don't know what to use. It could be an option, and I will be actually running this in the game I'm going to show you right at the end as well. So yeah, I think the Thunder is the only one that I would actually invest towards. So, what is the highest level in terms of average? Probably MK1 level 12. But like I said, if you need weapons and you don't have any heavy weapons, then you could possibly take this to MK2 level 12. Being that it is a silver weapon, it's probably pretty cheap to max out. So I'm going to show you some gameplay of it, at least on the Falcon. And yep, so that's going to be the silver weapons. And what I'm going to do actually right now, I think this is probably a good way to do it, is put up a screen so that you can see a breakdown of which weapons I would get in terms of silver weapons. So I'm going to show that to you right now, and then we'll start with the gold weapons. Okay, so moving on to the gold weapons, and I was looking at the light weapon category here, and to be honest, we have the Magnum, we have the Aphid, Gecko. I was actually surprised about the Obelisk, and we also have the Gust. To be honest, I would not get any of those weapons. Save your gold and rather spend it on like a medium weapon here, which I have the Storms. So there's two weapons that I would possibly get, as far as gold goes. Definitely the Storm. I actually run this at max level on my own account on my Ravana, and it works really well. So against top players, this is a weapon that you want to have. We have also the Tehran here, and the Tehran is an interesting one because if I recall correctly, on my baby account, when I was going up, through the leagues, in the lower leagues, I would face Fujings with Punishers and also the Carnage. Well, this weapon on the Fujing actually works really well to counter what I just mentioned. So it can work. I also have a Fenrir with Redeemer and Terrans in the lower levels of Champion on my baby account, and it kind of works, but I don't think I would get this beyond MK1 level 12. I think once you get to that point, you probably want to stop and work towards another weapon. So, we have that, and I think that actually covers everything here, because I think all these other weapons are all components. Let's just move on to the heavy. And in terms of the heavy weapons for gold, I would not get the Trident. We have the no, don't get that. Don't get that either. And there's a lot of stuff here that I would not get. This one's debatable because this can kind of work for some bots, but it really depends. I think the only weapon I would get for gold, as far as heavy weapons go, is the Avenger weapon. And I know it did get a nerf, but you know what? With a speed shooter and sharpshooter, it's still pretty deadly. I run this on my Aljung, on my baby account, and it can actually output quite a bit of damage. And also you have the overdrive unit to help it if you happen to win it from the birthday event. Okay, so I think that wraps it up in terms of the gold weapons here. So I'm going to show you a screen just showing you a simple breakdown of those weapons, and then we're going to hop to the components next. Okay, so moving on to the final category, the component weapons, we're going to start with the light and then move to the medium and the heavy, just like I did with the silver and the gold weapons. So let's just move across here until I get to the spark. So the spark weapon, definitely a yes. I see this being actually used in high-level champion. A lot of players running it with phantoms along with Scourge. Okay, so yes to this one, and I would get this to MK2 level 12. The Shredder, it's actually not that bad. I don't see it being used that much in high-level champion. It is deadly. Would I personally get it to MK2 level 12? If I'm going to run it, probably not. MK1 level 12 is probably enough. Until I see more players running it, then I'll level it up. But, that's kind of where I sit with the Shredder. Halo, no. The Blaze. The Blaze is an interesting one because I actually run this on my baby account on my Phantom along with Igniter, and it actually works pretty good. It did get a buff. Would I get it to MK2 level 12? Probably not. MK1 level 12, maybe. I don't really see it being used that much in High Champion. And then we have the Marquise here. Now, I can understand if players want to level this up. You might have like an Ares with Pulsar and Hussar. This could kind of work because, all the weapons are going to be 600 meter range. Would I level it up? Probably not. I think if I had this weapon and I was leveling it up because of the current, battlefield environment, with all resistance and stuff. I think the most I would get this is probably MK1 level 12. I wouldn't MK2 it. The Rhyme, definitely yes. I see a lot of players actually running this on the Phantom along with Cryo. It also works really, really well on the Blitz. When the Blitz gets that legendary pilot, with the Rhyme weapon, it's going to be so deadly. So definitely yes for the Rhyme. And let's move to the mediums. Geez, I almost clicked on modules for some reason. Let's just keep on scrolling here until we get to a component weapon, which is the Ion and the Wasp. Okay, so these two weapons, they actually do quite a bit of damage, for range. You can see they both have 600 meter range. Would I personally get it on my own account and level it up? Probably not. I think the most I would get it to would probably be MK1 level 12, unless, I could see it kind of actually getting into the meta. By that, I mean, the top players are running it, then I might max it out. But right now, I don't see them using these weapons. However, I have been hit by it, and it does hurt. So, I mean, there's always that, right? The Vortex, I know a lot of players are saying, well, why didn't you get the Vortex in there? The answer is actually I wouldn't, because right now we have Phase Shift, we have Transcendence as well with the Ravana, and we're going to see more of the Ravana, enter the game. Someone's going to fire Vortex at you and you're in a Ravana, you just use your Transcendence and you've negated, all their rockets, and if that fails, you have Phase Shift. Okay, so that's the reason why. Pulsar weapon, I would say yes. I have actually seen some top players run it. Not as much as some of the other weapons like Storm or Cryo, but this weapon is a range weapon, and I think when it comes to 600 meter range weapons, this might just be the strongest one. So if you are building like a leech and you are thinking of like a medium range 600 meter range weapon, I think this would probably be my go-to weapon. It does a lot of damage, and plus you can lock players down with it. Okay, so there's that. The Igniter weapon works actually really well. Okay, so I've seen some players running this on the Fenrir, and this is a weapon that I would get to max level, MK2 level 12. I tend to be a brawler, so you got to understand, why I tend to favor, certain weapons, especially close range. We have the Hussar here, and I mentioned when I was talking about the Marquise, the same thing, the Hussar. If you're playing like medium range build, and my advice is don't run too many of those in your hangar, especially if playing Beacon Rush or something. One build is enough, but I would run this with Marquise. For me personally, would I level it up though, based on my style of play? Probably not. I think the most I would actually get it to MK1 level 12, unless I needed some sort of range build. But then you also have the Pulsar, and I think I actually favor the Pulsar over this one. Okay, then we have the Scourge. Now, the Scourge is an older weapon, and this weapon I actually currently do run at max level on my Leech. So the answer to that question, would I get this? Would I max it out MK2 level 12? The answer is yes. Okay, so we have that. And then I guess lastly we have the Cryo. So definitely yes to the Cryo. Works really well on the Ravana, the Leech, the Phantom, even the Nightingale. Okay, so it might be another one that you want to run. But if you have this weapon, it might be a really good idea to level it up, because that's kind of where the meta is going right now. And it works really good against Titans, okay? And let's just move to the heavy weapons. Man, I almost clicked on modules. Let's just keep on going here. Something about that modules button, man. Okay, let's see. We have... No, I wouldn't get that. Okay, so the Exodus. Some players might have this. For me, I would actually not get this beyond MK1 level 12, but I am going to mention it because I know there's some players that do have the Exodus. The reason why is because we have the Glacier, and I think the Glacier is better. So, yes to this, but for me, I would not get it beyond that MK1 level 12. The Viper weapon, some players use it. They say that it really works for them. I was running this at one point on my Aljung, but it was more to counter the leeches. And now that we're seeing less and less leeches, and more Ravana in high-level champion, I would say that this is not a weapon that I would actually max out at this point. So maybe MK1 level 12, and depending on how the meta shifts, if it tends to go towards bots with a lot of resistance, then maybe. Avalanche, no, I don't think I would get that. Glory, this can work, but I don't think it's one that I would actually run in high-level champion at this point. Like I said, I'm going up against these top players, and I rarely see them use Glory. So I think probably not. I think MK1 level 12 is probably the most I would take this. Thermite, fun weapon to use, but I would not max it out. Ember. Okay, so this is a weapon I would get to MK2 level 12. I currently run the Ember right now on my baby account. I think I have it on my Falcon, but I actually want to build a Fenrir with Ember and Igniter. So if you are a Fenrir player, that might be a build you are or can, build towards. So definitely yes for that one. Dragoon, if you need it like medium range, maybe. But for me, I don't think at this point in the game I would level it up to MK2 level 12. But I want to say for the 600 meter range, you can get it. It's just for me personally, because I'm a brawler and because of how the game is shaping up, I wouldn't get it, okay? So let's see, Redeemer. This one I would say yes. I actually run this right now on my Ao Jung and it works really well. So this is one worth getting. MK2 level 12, yes. The Calamity is another one I would get, especially if you are running the Ao Jung with the Yang Li pilot. Really good at countering other Ao Jung, so yes to this as well. And lastly, the Glacier. So the Glacier I would say yes, because right now, one of the weapons or category of weapons, I should say, that work really well against Titans are cryogenic weapons. So Rhyme, Cryo, and Glacier work really well. These weapons on the Ao Jung with Deathmark are extremely deadly to Titans. You see a lot of this being used in high-level play, the top players using it. So I would say definitely a weapon worth upgrading at this point. And that is one I would get at max level, or at least MK2 level 12. And there's some other weapons here as well that I wanted to cover. They're not in the store yet, but I should probably talk about it. So the Atomizer, Nucleon, and Quarker. Out of these weapons I've tested, the Quarker and the Atomizer seem to be the most successful. I think Nucleon is probably going to be a weapon that I want to say it's going to be buffed in the future, but I wouldn't be surprised if Atomizer is one as well. Because honestly, when I'm playing in these high-level games, I rarely see players use the Atomizer. I think if I had to play, 20 games against some of the top clans out there, I would see maybe a couple of players use it. In 20 games, maybe there might be 2 games where I might see players use it. So that kind of gives you a gauge of, where this is right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if, that weapon gets buffed. The Quarker actually seems pretty strong. Nucleon, I think, will get a buff. Okay, so in terms of, what weapons could we see being buffed? Possibly these two. I don't think the Quarker, but this is definitely one that can work. So if you have those weapons, I think the Atomizer and Quarker would be the ones I would upgrade at this point. And I think that pretty much covers it in terms of weapons. So yeah, what we're going to do now is probably jump into a game. I do have a hangar set up here. So let's just go through this. So we have the Loki here with the Rhyme. And I try to combine, some of the weapons I just spoke about. So we do have the Loki with the Rhyme. We have the Ravana with Storm. And I mentioned the Thunder. I've actually been enjoying this build. Don't make fun of me, man. It's a fun build. I like these shotgun builds. Speaking of which, I have the Ravana with Storm there. But we're going to run this with the Thunders. And then we have the Ao Jung with Glacier, as I mentioned. Really good counter to the Titans. And the Scourge. Okay, so you notice that, I have one range. And all of these are close range. And then we have the Arthur here with the new weapons, Cyclone, Cataclysm. I haven't really tested this out, so I'm kind of curious to see how this goes. But yeah, So we're going to jump into a game, and then that's going to be it, I think, in terms of this weapons guide. And you guys can actually let me know if you kind of found this helpful in the comment section. That would be great. So yeah, let's hop into a game, and let's see how we do with this lineup. Okay, so we've dropped in on Dreadnought map, and I've started with the Leech here. I think this guy's going to make his way to this beacon before I do, so I'm trying to hurry here. The only problem is I'm not going to have my ability. Oh, shoot, that's even worse. Okay, so I'm going to have to use combination of my ability and phase shift here. So let's do that. This guy does have a last stand though. So I'm going to get him down to his last stand at least. So his last stand was triggered. They did not get their home beacon or something. I don't know what happened over here. Let's drop in with, let's use the Aljung. I'm going to use the Aljung next. I'm just gauging, you know, where these players are in terms of range. I wasn't sure what I was hitting, but I'm pretty sure that's a Falcon. And I am in trouble. We gotta run. Crap. Oh, jeez, this guy wants a piece of me, man. So you see what I'm doing? I'm actually moving onto this beacon here to defend it, because otherwise he's going to get it. So when I go into flight, I'm going to make sure that I'm flying above this beacon. Let's focus on this guy. Is this another Falcon or what? No, that's a Leo. Jeez, that's a really strong Leo. There we go. Watch out though, guys. Just waiting for him to drop the shield. There we go. And this guy. I think he's gonna end up killing me here. Uh-oh. There's a lot of players on that side. You know what? I'm gonna drop in with the Falcon. If I can get into a really good position where there's a lot of players, I can actually wipe out quite a few with these Thunders. Does this guy have? Oh! Oh man, I made him angry. Yeah, run. Come on, are you serious? There we go. And this guy, have some Thunders. There we go. Uh-oh, not good, not good. Run. Oh, he locked me. You know what? I was going to actually switch into Fangs Up mode, but I don't think I can do that now. I'm getting, well, I got a few shots in, I think, on that player. He took me out. Let's drop in with, you know what? I want to do the, let's do the Loki. I was going to do the Loki to get, like, that beacon on the far right if I could. I'm trying to see if I can sneak by. I wonder if I can maybe hit this Arthur with some rhyme weapons. Actually, wait. This guy's watching me. Yeah. Try to keep my distance. Let's go this way. There we go. Why did it sound like I was like losing sound there? Almost sounded like I was losing some sound. You know what? I don't want to get another beacon because I still have the Ravana and I want to run through the Ravana too. So I'm going to leave that one beacon white. For the sake of this video, of course. Typically I don't play that way. Did I get him? There we go. Let's try to help out my teammate here with some rhymes. This guy is almost out. There we go. And let's try to get this other beacon back. Do you see the Yao Ming that was killed? Last stand triggered. There we go. He's gonna hit me, right?
Double kill.
Okay, so I think that's gonna be it. I didn't get to the Arthur, but you know what? That's okay because this whole video is kind of focused around weapons, and I didn't really talk about Titan weapons, but I did kind of do a video a while back covering different setups, and I'll be sure to link that to you guys for anyone who is interested. I'll put that in the video description, and if I remember, the top right corner of the screen as well. But this is how we stacked up, and it's unfortunate that they were down a player here, but I did do a almost 3.2 million, 8 kills, 2 beacons. And let's just take a look at this play here on Android in Champion League. And this is what he's running. Level 28 kid. And this player over here, actually wait a minute. Yeah, this player is either on iOS or Amazon because they don't have keys. So that's how I know that they're on like Android. So this player here, this is what he's running. Level 30 kid. And let's see, this one is from iOS. This one, I almost thought they were from the same clan, but I'm assuming, yeah, this one's in Master. So now we're starting to hit, those Master League players. And this is what this player is running, and a level 45 Arthur. Okay, and before we end things, let's just take a look at the honor points. And there's the honor points for that game. So I think that pretty much wraps everything up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post it in the comment section. And I hope this video was helpful in terms of sort of like a weapon guide for 2020. Obviously, there will be changes, later this year, I'm sure, with any kind of rebalancing that does take place. Let me know what you guys think of this video. And also if you want a robot version, which I actually do plan on doing, but I'm kind of curious as to your interest in that. And I think that about wraps everything up. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet subscribed, consider subscribing. Until the next video, I'll catch you guys later.